Welcome to the Business Boom Podcast, powered by Boomtag Media. Each week, we are sitting down with growth-obsessed, dynamic entrepreneurs, marketing experts, and business owners who have cracked the code to explosive growth. I'm your host, Kendra Noel. Let's take things to the next level and spark your business into its boom era. Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Business Boom Podcast. Super excited to introduce you all to my guest today, Rachel Miller. Rachel, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Journey Back Quilts?
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me, Kendra. This is so fun to be able to be on your show and talk all business things with you. So, yes, I
Absolutely.
started Journey Back Quilts officially in 2017. My grandma had taught us how to quilt back when I was a teenager, and I absolutely hated it back then. I had no patience for the sewing machine, didn't know how to work it. And so I joke that God has a sense of humor, that he turned something I absolutely hated as a kid into a passionate hobby business of mine. So yeah, we do all sorts of kinds of things. We started with custom quilts, making memory quilts, then added in long arming services, and then started teaching classes out of our home. During that time, if a student missed a class, they'd said, "Can you just film the lesson for me, because you explain it better than the book does?" And so I figured out how to film myself and how to get that going. And so the next year I was like, well, I'm just going to put these online and see how they do and see if I can reach more people than 5 people in my basement. And God just knew what was happening, because COVID was just right around the corner that year, and it just worked out perfectly. So, yeah. And here
Right.
we are today.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting now that we're a few years past the COVID era, how you saw how businesses pivoted and then how that kind of changed their business forever and like kind of the lasting effects and what businesses still do that they did during COVID and what they're kind of been able to go back to normal. But some things just worked. Like some
Mhm.
things just it just changed things and it really worked. So,
Yeah.
I see we have someone in the audience and they say we're ready for the boom. I'm so
Yay.
ready to talk about how this hobby turned into a booming business because I'm sure there were, like you just gave us a quick synopsis of what happened, but I'm sure there's a lot of details and nuances into how you took that hobby and turned it into a booming business. And I think that there's also a lot of opportunity for people listening who have hobbies themselves to
Mhm,
kind of learn from what you did
mhm.
and be able to take that into their hobby and get some insight on how they might be able to turn their passion into a business. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah, so let's just get into it. So you said that this hobby started as a teenager. That's
Yeah.
an interesting tidbit that you shared that you didn't love it at first.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So since you didn't love it, how did you get to the point where it became a passion and something that you wanted to turn into a business?
Yeah. So, after those lessons, I knew the basics of sewing, knew the basics of quilting, and my mom homeschooled us growing up. So I had little home ec classes from different ladies in our church or other homeschooling moms that did little things. And so that helped progress my knowledge in it, but I still didn't love it. It wasn't a passion yet. And then in 2005, my husband and I are getting ready to get married. Um, and it was about 5 months before our wedding, and my face went paralyzed. I had Bell's palsy, and supposedly it's brought on by stress. And so I had to stop everything in life. I had to like put the wedding on hold for a second, stop working, everything. And my mom knew that I am not one to sit still. And so she's like, here's my brand new Janome sewing machine. Do not break it, but you can play with it. So I made a little rag quilt out of my old jeans and some fabric, and it still didn't turn out great. I'm like, I still don't really like this, but it gave me something to do while I was recovering.
Right.
Fortunately,
Mhm.
everything came back before my wedding, so that was good. And then, fast forward a few more years, we've been married a few years, we've had a couple kiddos, and my mom gifted me and my sisters little sewing machines for Christmas. I'm like, "Oh, thanks, mom. This is gonna sit in the closet, and I'm never gonna touch it again because that's not my thing." And, but she kinda convinced me, like, "Just try it, just see what you wanna do," you know? So, my son was getting his little big boy bed, he turned 3 that year, and so I'm like, "Okay, I'll make him a quilt for his bed." So I made another little rag quilt, and as I went through to rag, you have to clip all of your seams, and then when you put it in the dryer, it fluffs up and makes a cute little rag quilt. Well, when I clipped through all of those to make it rag, I clipped through a lot of my seams, and so I threw
Oh,
it to
shoot.
my mom and went, "I still don't like this. Can you do it for me?" So she fixed it for me. Thank you, mom.
Mm.
But then my daughter was just a year younger than my son, and so I had to make her one to make it fair. So I don't know what it was about her quilt, but something clicked, and I just found my relaxation. I probably had enough knowledge about how the sewing machine worked, and that's like the heart of it. Once you know your sewing machine, you can do anything. But before that, it's frustrating and overwhelming. So I have a passion to help people learn their sewing machine and then the tips and tricks and techniques to get into that. So um, anyway, after making her quilts, friends and family were asking if I could make them quilts for baby showers or their daughters or whatever. And so um, I would do that just as a little hobby on the side. And um, couple of years later, my husband had a traumatic accident at work that left him paralyzed for a while. And we just prayed that God would heal him. And he is a walking miracle today, but he's still not able to work the job he had before. It was a very physical job that he had to lift heavy things and stuff. So, um, because of that, we needed a little buffer to our income.
Right.
Comp was helping, but you know, that just goes so far. So we needed a little bit help. So I thought, well, we're homeschooling our kids at the time. I want to stay home with them. What can I do? And as people just kept bringing me ideas for quilts or asking me if I could make memory quilts for them, pretty soon I was serving more strangers than was friends and family. And I was like, okay, I probably need to make this a business. A business. So, yeah, that's pretty much how it was born. And yeah, how God helped provide for our family that way.
That's amazing. So, it kind of you had to position or transition from a hobby to a job kind of out of necessity, but it does
Mm,
sound like God really put that path in front of you and gave you
yeah,
the grace to work it in order to provide for your now 2 kids and your whole family. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
exciting,
yeah,
that that path was given to you from something that you didn't even think that you enjoyed.
yeah. I know. It's a miracle.
Right? Is there any caution you would give people who have something that they really love that they've thought about turning into a business?
Yeah,
Like, is there, anything that, like, you don't find enjoyment in anymore now that it's your business?
right. Yeah. Um, there have been challenges because I would just make my whole world about the business and not the hobby anymore. And so everything I did was for the business. And I had to find either different hobbies to replace this one, or I've learned now that I just separate my times. So during the day, I have work hours. And then in the evening, after the kids go to bed, I get to play and get to play with the blocks that I want to make or whatever I'm working on. And so that has helped me be able to incorporate it still as my hobby, but still as work. And you'll find that as you make it your work, you are doing more of the business things, you know, the marketing, the accounting, the, you know, intaking um, orders or whatever. And so there's not a lot of time that I get to just play in the studio. So making that time in the evening is very important to be able to play and have fun and not feel
Yeah.
burnt out, you know? So, yeah.
That's good to know that you do still do it for fun, and I've seen some pictures of, like, quilts that you've entered in fairs and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, so I can tell that you are still enjoying it, still making a lot of really beautiful things, so that's good to know.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so let's talk about COVID and what you had to do to build your business online and, like, what kinda lessons you learned from COVID.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was starting to film before COVID even happened. So fortunately, I kind of had that under my belt before the world went crazy. And I had already started building a website. My sister-in-law helped me build my first website and try to get that going. And it just wasn't a great fit for how my videos worked and how the membership part of it worked and stuff. So I eventually did transition from it was Weebly back then to Kajabi, which was a huge leap. But Kajabi was just an easier platform to be able to use for videos and memberships and all those kinds of things. So yeah, and trying to film and edit all that stuff, that was a huge learning curve too. That was just you had to kind of take your time and yeah, it was fun, but, a lot of work for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. Did you end up having to get someone else involved to help with the production of, like, the classes, that you did online, or were you able to just bootstrap it, figure it out yourself, and get it done?
Yeah, I did figure it out mostly by myself. I did take a couple online courses to help me learn how to
Mhm.
grow my email list or how to create a membership or um, this, that, or the other thing. So I've been under several different coaches and been in masterminds and things like that to help me grow this business during that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's so helpful no matter what is going on in life.
Mhm,
Anytime you're kinda trying to go the solopreneur route,
mhm,
figuring things out on your own is just super hard. So I've done a few of those masterminds, community
mhm.
classes, that kind of thing too, trying to figure it out. I've actually got a online course 95% of the way done, which
Woohoo!
I yeah, I did all myself too and kind of figured it out, and I don't know why I can't get over that last 5% and just get it published and
Yeah.
get it, promoted, and I've got some sorta hiccup there that I need to get over, I think. But online communities and stuff like that for
Mhm.
someone who works by themselves is just super important. So,
Yes.
talk about your quilting community a little bit. What do you guys kinda cover there?
Yeah, so that has been, um, a process of trying to figure out what works for other people, what works for me. And right now we're kind of on a break because I had some health issues last summer that was taking my attention away. And so we pushed pause on that stuff. It's still available online. It's just not as interactive with me as it used to be. We used to have guest instructors come in, and we would do a lesson every month either with me or the guest instructor, or we would do like a sit and sew, and we would do this all through Zoom. And then everything was online for the replay. There's also a library of quilting tutorials on that site. It's called the Society or Journey Back Quilts Society, and it's spelled SEW for
I
society.
saw that when I looked at
Yeah,
your website. I'm like, "That's some clever marketing there,
yeah,
the
it's very fun.
society."
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
still
great.
available. It's kind of like explain it to other people that it's like our private YouTube channel. You get to go in there and just watch all the videos you want, and you can pick and choose where you are in your quilting journey to learn anything. If you're a very beginner, we have lessons on how to work your sewing machine. And then we go from cutting fabric, ironing fabric, putting it together, all the different kinds of blocks that there are, and how you can create different blocks within those blocks. Like there's just this quilting magic that's within quilting. So it's really fun.
So that's kinda like a learning at your own pace kind of
Yeah.
thing, maybe chatting with some other people who are going through something similar, so it
Yes.
does kinda build community.
Yes. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
great. I love that. Well, it looks like we have, someone who has, made quilts with you before in
Yay!
the
Hi,
audience.
Pat.
She said, "This
Yes.
is Pat from Texas. Rachel taught me quilting at 75, and I made 5 quilts in the first year."
Yeah,
So,
she was
that's
amazing.
super exciting.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Pat.
That I can't imagine doing 5 quilts, having never quilted before, like, learning it, and you must have some sort of system, like, systematically where people can learn and pick it up to the point where they could make multiple per year, so
Yes, yeah. The very first course that I did was from the Farm Girl Vintage book by Lori Holt, and she is just one of the most popular authors out there for quilting right now. She has fabric lines and all sorts of things going on that you would never be bored playing with her things. So we went through one of her books the first year, and I broke it down to the very simplest blocks to learn different techniques. And then we grew from there into combination blocks so that it was easier and not so overwhelming because there's 50 blocks in that book. And the students, a lot of them were brand new quilters at that time. Like, COVID, they wanted to learn a new hobby, a new craft, and keep their hands and mind busy. And this was a great way to do it. And so a lot of them were brand new and they finished that quilt, and it was not an easy feat, but I think they all enjoyed it. I heard lots of feedback of how fun it was, so that was
Oh,
good.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you took some of those classes, so other than the society, you have some other quilting classes where it's like, learn how to make a specific quilt,
Yes.
and those are kind of like on a evergreen mode for you, right? Like, anyone
Yes.
can sign up at any time and learn how to make a quilt if they're something that they want to learn, or is there any prerequisite to that, or can they just jump in at any time and start one of those classes?
Yeah, for the most part, all of those classes have the same beginning steps to them so that if a brand new quilter is joining, they can learn the basics of the sewing machine, basics of the fabric, basics of all the things that they need to know before they start tackling the actual project. But yes, we have lots of different one off classes. This one here, this pumpkin one behind me, is one of those. It comes with a kit. So you have the pattern, the written pattern in front of you. And so you can follow along with that while you're following along with my videos. And it comes with the fabric and everything too. So it's just like all inclusive in a box. So you have a class in a
Okay,
box
great.
ready to go. And
So
the
if you're
videos are,
listening on,
yeah,
Spotify or Apple, you can't see what we have going on, but it might be worth going to the YouTube channel to check out the quilt that Rachel has behind her because it's super pumpkin fallish, really, really cute. So
yeah,
that's a lot of fun there too. Like, so good hobby for maybe even entrepreneurs who need a little bit of a break from all the business
yes.
stuff and just wants to try something crafty.
Yes, exactly. I've heard more and more that all these little grandma hobbies that are coming back are
They
so good
are.
for our
Yeah.
mental health because it helps slow our minds down and it makes us
Mhm.
focus on just one thing at a time instead of all the hustle and bustle that our world is these days. So,
I think that's true, and then it gets your eyes off of a screen.
mhm,
So, taking, intentional time away from your screen, I'm finding myself, like, needing to do that kinda thing more and more for my mental health
yes, I know.
too, because it gets to be very overwhelming with all the notifications, and someone
Mhm,
who's in social media, I always feel like I need to be, like, in the know of social media and be
mhm.
scrolling. Like, I feel like that's part of my job is to be scrolling a lot, but it gets to be too much, so having a hands-on hobby
Yeah,
that doesn't involve a screen, I think that sounds wonderful.
yes, yep.
So, what are some of the lessons that you learned during COVID that you kept? And which ones have you been like, "Okay, that was just a COVID era thing. I don't need to
Yeah,
do that anymore?"
yeah, that's a really good question. Well, I definitely learned a lot of marketing techniques during COVID because that was the only way I could reach people. It wasn't in person anymore, so I had to get on the computer and learn all those different techniques of social media and email marketing, and now we have a texting marketing as well. And so those things have followed me. The online classes are still there; they're still available, and they still um, are purchased once in a while, but it's not as popular, I guess, as in person, because now everybody's like, we just want to be in person. We need community, we need those hands-on experiences. So I am branching out to do more in-person classes here soon as well. So
That's
yeah.
good to know. I've heard a lot of people talking about that pivot too, like, the digital stuff is so convenient, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it had its time and its place for, like, connecting people when we couldn't go out.
Mhm.
But now that we can, and it's okay to be in person and people are, like, just hungry for that kind of personal connection. So that's a really good point
Yeah.
that you made, and I don't think it's just your industry. I think that a lot of people are saying the same thing, even, like, marketing conventions
Mhm.
that were all online more and more are starting to book hotels and convention rooms and, like, okay, it's time to
Yes.
get back to meeting people, gathering in a room.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that reminds me, we're having our very first quilt retreat in a couple weeks. We've rented a venue that has cabins and a huge lodge. They do weddings and things in town here. And so it's going to be so much fun to be in person with these ladies and be able to sew. It's just an open sew type place. So we're not doing a specific project, but everyone will bring their own projects. And that way we can get inspired by each other as well.
That's perfect. Okay, so I know the venue you're talking about. I'm very
Yes.
tied in with them, so I love it. I've been there. It's beautiful, and
Mhm.
I think that you will have a great time at the Trout on Inn if we can go ahead
Yes.
and give them a shout
Yeah.
out.
Give her a shout out.
Cool. All right, and then we do have David in the comments congratulating Pat on that great accomplishment of making 5 quilts in a year, and then he points out it's not just grandma hobbies, it's grandpa hobbies too.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, so thanks for pointing that out. We didn't mean to single it out and make it a ladies only thing. So, for
Right,
sure, anyone could use that mental break, no
right.
matter if they're male or female.
Yeah, and, more and more, there's more male quilters that I'm seeing pop up more and more lately. So, it's not
Really.
just a little grandma hobby anymore, it's for male and female. Yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing that says that it's gender
yeah,
bound for sure,
no,
so
yep,
that's cool.
yep.
What kinda quilts do males usually like to make?
It surprises me. I have a gentleman, that just bought the Anne of Green Gables kit, and I'm not sure if he's making it for a specific person or if he's an Anne of Green Gables fan as well, but I was like, "Okay, that's great. I'm excited for you." But usually they go for more masculine colors or more modern take on things. So yeah, it just depends on the person. I mean, it could be anything.
Mhm. Yeah, cool. I'm trying to envision my husband quilting and
Yeah,
what kind of quilt he would make. It'd probably have, like, a giant rhinoceros on it or something like
yeah, there you
that.
go. There's really cool patterns with that kind of stuff on it. So yeah,
I'm sure, like, the African themes and stuff.
yeah.
Cool. So you have some classes that are evergreen. Let's just like you mentioned what those classes are, but let's talk about for people who have a hobby who have maybe thought about turning it into like a teaching opportunity
Mhm,
and turning it into an evergreen course.
mhm.
What kind of insights do you have for entrepreneurs who are thinking about something like that?
Yeah, I would get a little practice with in person just so you can get that feedback from people first, and that way when you go to do, even if it's through Zoom or if you're going to pre-record it, you'll kind of know what those questions are that those, students are going to ask you, and that way you can answer those in your videos or as you're talking through Zoom. Um, that's kind of what helped me when I got into my filming was that I had that background experience with people in person first. And so I knew I had those voices in my head asking the questions ahead of time. So I was able
Mhm.
to answer those. But then when it comes to like equipment and stuff like that, I started with my phone and my iPad and I learned how to splice those videos together and just finding a good uh, editor, I guess is what it's called. I use Descript as my editor now, and it is amazing. It
It
takes
is.
your
I don't
yeah,
know
do
what it
you use
was
that
like
too?
when you were using it, but
Oh,
that's what I use for the podcast now, and
yeah.
it is amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool. So it just takes your language out of the video and you can edit it from the script that it takes out. And you can delete all the ums and all the so's and all
Mhm.
the things that I say all the time that I try not to, but it comes out anyway.
It does.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So that one's really amazing. I didn't have that when I first started. I had something else. I can't remember the name of it now, but yeah, that was a huge learning curve. I had no one to teach me. I just had to dive in and play with it and figure it out. So
Mhm.
now there's so much information on doing those things. So it would be easier for people to jump into it nowadays than it was back then.
Yeah. And do you mind sharing some of the classes or
Mm.
masterclass courses or
Yeah.
teachers, coaches that kind of inspired you that were able to help you just dive in and start doing it?
Yeah. So my favorite is Katie Horner. She does a now it's a membership called Doing Business with God, and it was amazing. I was in that class first. That's kind of how I met her and got going with it. She has a whole Bible study on how to change our mindsets from this is all on me. I have to do this to this is God's business and I am his CEO and I get to just follow his lead and he will direct my path. And,
Yeah.
because of that, it changed so much. I mean, in this business world, we are taught to hustle, 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 and strive,
Mhm.
strive, strive. But that is not the way of Jesus. He is peace and calm. Bring your burden to him, and he will give you rest. And working from a place of rest, I've found I'm more productive and more clear headed than when I'm trying to strive and do it on my own. When I get into that rat race type feeling, then I need to remember to back off and just take it easy and just rest for a minute. I've worked in breaks throughout my day where I'll just chill and do nothing. Like if I'm going to eat lunch, I'm not going to work while I'm eating lunch. And that way my brain can reset and be able to move forward with my day so much smoother and so much more at peace than that hustle, hustle,
Mhm.
hustle. And that was
Yeah.
something that Katie kind of helped teach me was, you don't have to do it through strife. You can just rest and relax because God's got this. He knows the people that you need to serve. He's already got them planned out for you. He is the
Mhm.
owner of all the income in the world, so he's going to give you what you need and you don't have to hurry for that. So,
Right. And leaning into God's plan, it sounds like has been a huge part of building your business. So, no, in the business culture right now, there's a lot of talk about like just manifesting it, just thinking about it, and it will happen.
mhm,
But it sounds like that you learned a lot from that particular course, that it's more about leaning into God. Is that
yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he is the one who gives you a dream in your heart, and he will fulfill that for you if that's within his will. And if it's not, he'll redirect the dream. So if you're
Yeah.
thinking of manifesting in that way, then sure, go for it. But if it's just all on you and it's just going to come to you because you're dreaming it up, it's going to be a lot harder. It might happen, but it's going to be a lot
Yeah.
harder.
Yeah. I mean, there's some good things about that mindset, I think, about, like, planning for things and, like, hoping for them. Like, I
Hmm.
think that hoping is always a good thing, and kind
Yeah.
of, like, if you don't set aside some ideas of what you want to have happen, it's
Hmm.
less likely to happen. But to
Yeah.
have God as part of that journey saying, "God, show me your will for this."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you mentioned one. Tell me her name again because I wanna write it down.
Yeah. Katie Horner.
Okay, and did you find any others?
Yes, I took Stu McLaren's class on how to do memberships, so that
Mhm.
was really cool, and I would highly recommend doing that one or listening to it. I didn't join his membership, but I did the course part of it, and that really helped me as I was starting to get
Yeah.
going on that. Yeah. Another is Shannon Brinkley. She's specific on helping quilters build a business. I think she's kind of branched out to more crafters as well, not just quilting specifically, but that's what her business is in. So that was very inspiring to be able to see this is a possibility. It can make six figures, but yeah, it's yeah. So anyway, others are like Amy. Oh, what's her last
Amy
name?
Porterfield?
Yes,
I was hoping you would say her
yes.
because that's the one that I have done that when I said I got a course 95% of the way done, that's,
Uh-huh.
was the class that I took to get
Okay.
to the
Yes.
95%.
Good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
took her course on how to build an email list, and that was helpful to figure out,
Mhm.
the different steps to market towards people to grow that list. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you had some coaches that were more broad, and then you were able to find some that were very niche, even into crafting and quilting. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably the same for a lot of people out there thinking about turning their hobby into a business. They might
Mhm.
be able to take away from some of that too, where start out with the broad and then search out some courses, master classes, coaching, or whatever that is specific for your industry.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, and it is all helpful. So, yeah,
Mhm.
doing the broad stuff was very helpful when I was first starting because it taught me all the basics that I needed to know of online marketing and how to
Yeah.
grow your website and all those kinds of things. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Perfect. I'm loving this conversation, and I can tell that there's some people in the audience who are loving it as well. David says, wonderful perspective. He talks about where you said it's good to take some time to reset.
Yes.
I would totally agree with that tip
Yeah.
right there. Okay, so scaling. You have this business now that's more than just classes in the community.
Mhm.
I saw on your website that you even sell fabric.
Mhm.
So let's talk about how you went from where you started to scaling up to what you are now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so it started with making memory quilts. People would bring me their cherished T-shirts or baby clothes or things like that, and we would turn it into a quilt. I say we because I had to grow a team to help me with that because doing it by myself was way too much work. So I had an awesome lady who did all the prep work for me. She cut all the clothes apart, got the stabilizer done, and then she'd send it back to me and I would cut out the design and then lay it out and then she would piece it together. And then after we were done quilting it, we'd send it to the next person to do the binding. So it was really helpful to have these ladies on board to help me through the process. And I've
Yeah,
had
team
several
effort.
different, yeah, I've had several different helpers throughout the years that have come and gone. And a lot of them took my classes or something at one point and they're like, I just want to come hang out and quilt with you. I'm like, great, I've got work. Come help me. So from there, it grew to doing the classes, and the classes kind of grew to getting product and to kind of support those classes. So I wanted to be able to make kits for them or provide the pattern for them or things like that. So I found some wholesale companies that I really love and signed up as a wholesaler with them. And so now we have a small collection of fabrics, notions, threads, patterns, all those things. And last year we got an opportunity. Someone reached out to me and asked if we could be vendors at one of their quilt shows. And I honestly, I knew about quilt shows, but I didn't really recognize that as a form of revenue for us. And so my husband's like, yep, let's try it. And so we packed up all of the inventory into our camper and went to Nebraska and did this show. And it went so well. And I kind of was leaving it up to my husband because it is a lot of work. The fabric is very heavy and trying to load all of that and then unload it, set it up, be in this venue for 3 days, tear it down, put it back in the camper, come back home, unload it. It was just so much work. And with his injury and my injuries, I also have had several back surgeries within the last 10
Mm.
years. It was kind of like, okay, should we keep doing this or should we not? I don't know. But he was like, this was awesome. I love talking to the people. and we're making money. So let's keep doing them. So we did a couple more that year. And then this year it'll be 10 events after our quilt retreat. So
Wow.
it was a lot. So we're
Yeah, so you moved to a pretty event-heavy type year.
yes, yep, and it was
Wow.
great because we were able to get our name out there more. We were able to meet people face to face and help serve them and see what they were looking for, and so we've
Mhm.
been able to adjust based on our audience instead of just on what we think. So that's very helpful.
Yeah, like, it gives you a chance for some real-time feedback and things that you can implement what you're hearing from the people stopping by your booth and that kinda thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So before I did boom tag, my husband and I had a business where we were at events a lot,
Yeah,
and it is a lot of work.
yeah, it
So
is.
setting up those booth spaces and stuff, it's no joke, and I know that there's people who build their whole business model on it, like, and
Yeah,
they'll find every single event that they can locally, traveling, whatever. They're
yeah,
just filling their calendar with
mhm,
events to get out there all the time, and some people really, really enjoy it, like,
yeah,
they can sit at events for weekend after weekend, and then
yeah,
for us, it was kind of what got us out of that type of business the age that my kids were.
mhm,
They were so bored. They're
yeah,
like, "I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being out there talking to the people in the booth space and selling." We actually sold a lot more at the events than we did online.
mhm.
And so being out in front of people was a huge part of our business model, but the kids
Yeah,
were
it's the
like,
kids.
"This is
Yeah,
not fun. Let's
right.
not do this every weekend." And it got to the point where we did it less and less,
Mm,
and so we just decided to shut it down.
mhm.
But I think you can take a lot of learning from that. In fact, that business we did work on some online models as well. That's part
Mm,
of how I got in my feet wet with social media, kinda
yeah,
led to what we're doing now, so
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and
yeah,
so God just directed your path in a different way, but it had to start the first way because you wouldn't be here
exactly.
without that first. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, that's how I feel with my business too. It's like we just have grown from one step to the next and just being faithful with what he brings to us. Like we were just
Mhm.
faithful with the memory close, and then when he said that door is shut. Let's stop taking orders. I have a new path for you. I was like, okay, let's go. And so we have now stopped taking orders for memory quilts. So don't ask me for that, but I can refer you to someone.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do the shows now, the online classes, and I'm starting to teach in-person classes again. So I'll be an instructor at Quilt Wyoming this summer. So I'm really excited for that and have a couple other opportunities to be a presenter at guilds or things like that too. So
Mhm.
there's so many different revenues within the quilting world specifically. Um, so it's just amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So,
And I think that's what I wanted to focus on with that question too, is how did you take one hobby and then all of a sudden you have all these different income streams coming in from that one hobby? Do you still offer the long arm
mhm.
services as
Yes,
well?
yes.
I mean, that's just another avenue where you have so many different ways. And like a lot of times people will start a business and get super sidetracked with all
Mhm.
these other projects that aren't related to the first thing. But it seems like you've managed to take quilting and really build all these other awesome income streams, but stay on the quilting track, not
Yeah,
not getting sidetracked with painting or, some
yeah,
other craft or whatever.
yeah. Well, in the beginning, I was making those little tutu dresses out of tulle at the same time, and so our
Uh-huh,
business was a different name back then too, and I was doing those and, like, little pillowcase dresses and quilts, and pretty soon I just realized I had to just niche down and just be just quilts. So,
uh-huh,
but within the quilting world, there is all those different revenues from selling product to long arming services, making custom, teaching it, just there's just so much. You can write your own patterns, design your own fabric, all of that is included in this quilting world. So,
right.
it's very busy, which is good because I get bored easily, so I need a lot of different things.
Yeah. I love it. I think there's a lot that people could learn from that and the journey that you've taken with quilting and everything too. So thank you for sharing all of
Yeah,
that. Um, okay, last question, and let's kind of make this our truth bomb. So I try to remember when I can to have our guest drop a truth bomb, but I'm just kind of going to direct this one a little bit.
yeah,
So, how has your faith impacted your business the most? And can you give us a truth bomb about that?
yeah. Um, from the beginning, I always leaned into the verse that says, "Don't despise small beginnings," and just being
Mhm.
faithful in the little things, and He will give you much. And so I just keep being faithful with the little things, and pretty soon it feels like the little things are getting bigger and bigger. And when I feel like I can't handle it on my own strength, that's where I need God to rely on Him and in His strength that I can do this. And then He reminds me to do it from a place of rest and that He's got this already. So I can just slow down, back up, and do the little things again until I get caught back up with all the big things or whatever. When you feel overwhelmed, it's just slow down and just focus on one thing. So,
Yeah. Awesome. I love that truth bomb. That's great. Okay, so for anyone wanting to connect with you, wanting to learn more about quilting and that type of thing,
uh,
can you tell people like what social media platforms you are on and the best ways to connect with you?
yeah, the best place is probably just go to our website, journeybackquilts.com. That's quilts with an S at the end. We're the same name everywhere on all social media platforms other than TikTok. We're not on TikTok, but Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those things. Yeah, we would love to connect with you and learn about your business too, or help you with any quilting needs that you might have.
Perfect. Thanks so much for taking time to chat with us today. I'm glad that we had some people joining live, and I'm sure anyone listening to the replay is just going to get a lot out of this conversation. So, do you
Yeah.
have any final thoughts that you want to close out with?
Well, just thank you so much for having me on here. It's so much fun to be able to connect with you and talk about this business world. So it's important to have connections when you're a small business owner because it can get to be a lonely world. So it's great to have these
Absolutely.
different connections together. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we're not meant to stay in a silo, I don't think. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you the same way, just being willing to come and talk business on the podcast. So
Yeah.
until next time, I'm going to go ahead and play the outro. Have a great week.
Thanks, you too.
That's it for this week's Business Boom podcast. You've got the spark. Now go light up your business with what you have learned. If you like what you heard today, hit that subscribe button, drop us a review, or tell a fellow entrepreneur about the show. Keep pushing, keep growing, and catch us next week for more booming business strategies.